Chapter 5 Shadows of Deceit. Returning from the mysterious events in Canada, Dr. Whitmore and Sophie find themselves back at the university, grappling with the aftermath of their encounter with the Canadian government. What initially started as a somewhat amusing situation took a sharp turn towards the serious, reminiscent of conspiracy theories and cover-ups like the moon landing being faked or the shooting of JFK having to do with the CIA. The debriefing left them with a foreboding sense of caution. Dr. Whitmore, wise enough to keep his phone off and concealed, navigated the unnerving situation with subtle confidence. The Canadian authorities released them with a stern reminder that they should not divulge anything about the incident to anyone and forget about the whole thing. Once back at the university, the weight of their ordeal hung heavy on Dr. Whitmore's mind. The surrealism of the entire event left his mind racing with more questions than ever before. Now uncertain and questioning everything, he thought to himself, could his entire field of study be false? Dictated by some unseen secret society, this unseen, non-existent serpentis obscura? The false claim by the Canadian government that an extinct tribe had claimed the site to be sacred hinted at a real-life government cover-up tightening its grip without any legitimate tribal connection. Both archaeologists, Dr. Whitmore and Stephen Anderson, were aware of the lie immediately, but had decided to play along for the safety of Sophie as well as themselves. Now back home, Dr. Whitmore, with his discreetly saved footage, began the meticulous review and had been astonished at what he had seen in the murals painted on the walls. Sophie, despite the unexpected twists in her first field experience, had returned, for the most part, back to her normal life as a student of archaeology. She offered Dr. Whitmore reassurance, telling him that, if anything, her experience had solidified her desire to become an archaeologist. Dr. Whitmore, for a time, had been collaborating in secret with Dr. Anderson. They had taken on the daunting task of presenting their findings to their academic peers. The video evidence from Canada was compelling. The only problem was challenging the established norms never went well. It would be a tough battle, especially with all the other physical proof disappearing along with Dr. Anderson's papers. To prove that any of the events had even occurred, with only the footage from a cell phone that had been hidden and hastily recorded, would be a daunting task to say the least. Their pursuit of truth took an even darker turn when, without warning, Dr. Anderson disappeared. Certainly, without another witness to the events, their already tumultuous situation could not have gotten any worse, leaving Dr. Whitmore's own credibility to stand alone against the tide of change. Then came the final few blows. Dr. Whitmore, seemingly out of nowhere, was asked to resign from his tenured position. The charge being an ethics violation. It was either that or the expulsion of Sophie, and he would not let that happen to her. It left him not only angry but more resolute than ever to unravel the mysteries and expose the truth to the world. Simultaneously, Dr. Whitmore received a cryptic letter indicating that someone was not only aware of his footage but also intended to manipulate the public narrative and present him as a fraud. The promise was to convince everyone that their discoveries were nothing more than an elaborate prank. All of this would have broken most people's determination, let alone the will to continue. This was the outcome the serpentis obscura were hoping to have inflicted upon Dr. Whitmore. To their dismay, it had the opposite effect. Dr. Whitmore's rage and anger were forged into an unbreakable determination. They had taken everything from him, his job, his friend, his student, and now even his credibility. He was now a man set free, having nothing to lose. He could choose to sit idly by and let the world dictate his destiny, or he could move forward, charging headlong into his destiny. Fueled by righteous indignation, Dr. Whitmore decided to take matters into his own hands. The journey that had begun with curiosity evolved into a relentless quest for justice, truth, and the vindication of their findings. Little did he know, the shadows of deceit were about to reveal even deeper mysteries, pulling them further into a web of intrigue and danger. The academic pursuit of knowledge had transformed into a battle against unseen forces, and the stakes were nothing less than his own life. As Dr. Whitmore prepared to leave the university, a familiar face emerged. Sophie, one of his best students and friend of the missing Dr. Anderson. Her pallor and nervous demeanor spoke volumes. She had remained calm and confident during the entire ordeal in Canada, so this must have been bad. He beckoned her into his office. At least for the next few minutes, it was his office anyway. He then told her what had transpired with the university and why he was leaving. Sophie then said, "Thank you, Dr. Whitmore, for trying to save my academic career. I can't believe they are actually doing this. Can't I tell them that they are wrong, at least try to change their minds?" Dr. Whitmore shook his head no. "Well, maybe this will change things," Sophie said, handing him the manila envelope that she had been clutching when she arrived. Sophie handed him the envelope, containing documents and a USB drive. She said to Dr. Whitmore, "It's from Dr. Anderson. I received it today. Must have been sent before his disappearance. A note had said to give it to you." The urgency in Sophie's voice conveyed the gravity of the situation. Sophie told Dr. Whitmore. The note said that he had to go into hiding, that someone was after him. He uncovered something huge, something that could change everything we know about history and humanity. He said he needed your help to expose it to the world and redeem your credibility, she finished. Dr. Whitmore raised an eyebrow and said, "You know, Sophie, the last time I heard that, we were attacked by hooded men and kicked out of a whole country. I mean, who gets kicked out of Canada?" Intrigued and apprehensive, Dr. Whitmore opened the envelope. Ancient texts, written in various languages and scripts, spilled out. Some were recognizable Sumerian cuneiform and Egyptian hieroglyphs, while others were enigmatic, resembling nothing they had seen before. "What are these?" Dr. Whitmore asked, puzzlement etched on his face. Sophie, looking back at Dr. Whitmore with just as much of a look of puzzlement. "I don't know, I hadn't opened it yet." Dr. Whitmore said, "Well, let's take a look and find out." Dr. Whitmore inserted a USB drive into his computer. It had also been part of the context of the manila envelope, unveiling only a video file, so he clicked it. "Hello, Dr. Whitmore, Sophie. If you're watching this, it means I'm either dead or in hiding. I'm sorry for putting you in this situation. I could not have foreseen how the events of the discovery would have played out. If I had, I never would have involved you or one of your students. Unfortunately, you now have two choices: let them dictate the rest of our lives, or follow it through to the end, no matter where that end may lead. I, for one, am choosing to meet this on my own terms. I can only hope the two of you choose the same." The revelation escalated as Dr. Anderson explained that he was in a secret location, unable to disclose it for their safety as well as his own. He revealed a groundbreaking discovery: a yellow glass crystal that actually contained within its molecular structure digital data. It was ancient and contained information dating back to the dawn of civilization. He found it in a part of a larger network of ruins, a city predating any known human civilization, underneath the ruins of an already ancient civilization. "Dale, I will wait for you for 1 week at the source of the first discovery of the glass crystal. Only you, my friend, would have any idea about where that would be," said Stephen. The gravity of the situation intensified as Dr. Anderson continued. "You're the only ones I trust, the only ones who can help me. What I'm about to show you is the most incredible discovery of my life, maybe of all time. It's also the most dangerous. There are obviously people who will stop at nothing to keep it hidden, to silence anyone who knows about it. They are powerful, ruthless, and they have connections everywhere. They are the ones who framed you, Dr. Whitmore. They are the ones who want to destroy your reputation and your work. They are the ones who are behind the shadows of deceit." He paused and took a deep breath. "I'm in a secret location, somewhere in the Middle East. I can't tell you where, for your own safety and mine. I'm sure you already have an idea of my whereabouts. Knowing you, I can show you what I found. Follow me." He turned the camera and walked through a narrow corridor lined with stone walls and torches. He reached a large metal door, which he opened with a large dial. It looked similar to the Aztec calendar. He entered a dimly lit chamber, filled with shelves and cabinets. Anything that had been on them had long since deteriorated or been moved. He walked towards one of the walls and opened a drawer. He took out a small golden metal box and placed it on a table. "This is it. This is what they don't want you to see. This is what could change everything." He opened the box and revealed its contents. It was a small, round object, about the size of a coin. It was a very smooth yellow glass, engraved with intricate patterns and symbols. It glowed with a faint yellow light glistening through it from the torchlight all around. "This, my friends, is a data disk of sorts. A very ancient data disk. It contains information that dates back to the dawn of civilization, maybe even before. It's part of a larger collection, a library of sorts, that I discovered in a hidden chamber beneath the ruins of an ancient city. A city that is already one of the oldest known human civilizations. A city that was built by someone else. Someone who was not human." He looked at the camera with a serious expression. "This glass disc, and the others like it, contain the secrets of our origins and their history as well. They tell us who we are, where we come from, and why they chose to hide. They tell us about the wars that were fought and the enemies that still lurk in the shadows. They tell us about the ancient gods, the fallen angels, and the hidden masters. They tell us about the truth that has been hidden from us for millennia. The truth that could set us free." He paused and looked at the glass disc with awe. "I've managed to decode some of the information on this disc, using a device that I found in the same chamber. It's a translator of sorts, a universal language decoder. It can read and translate any script, any language, any code. It seems to be damaged in some way, yet it still works just very slowly, taking days to render a couple of paragraphs. It's amazing, and it's also dangerous. It's what they are after. It's what they want to destroy. It's what they'll kill me for. He paused and looked at the camera again with a determined look, then continued. And to both of you, if you choose to join me, I won't let them erase our history, our legacy. I won't let them keep us in the dark, in ignorance, in fear. I won't let them win. That's why I'm sending you this. That's why I need your help. You're the only ones who can expose this to the world. You're the only ones who can make a difference. You're the only ones who can save us. He reached for the crystal glass disc and held it in his hand. This crystal, and others like it, are the keys to our past, our present, and maybe even our future salvation or our doom. They are at the very least the keys to our academic redemption. He looked at the camera one last time with a hopeful smile. Good luck, my friends. I hope to see you both soon, but understand if you choose another path. The video ended. Dr. Whitmore and Sophie stared at the screen, speechless. Well, what do you think? She asked. Dr. Whitmore shook his head, trying to process what he had just seen. He answered, I think we're in deep trouble, and that I'm going to be traveling to the far reaches of the globe to find my friend who seems to be in a little bit of trouble. Sophie nodded, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. I think we're in for the adventure of our lives, she said. Dr. Whitmore looked back at Sophie and said, there is no we, there's me and you staying in school to get your PhD. Dr. Whitmore then told Sophie, come on, let's get out of here, technically this isn't my office anymore. Sophie still insisted on going with Dr. Whitmore. Dr. Whitmore not taking no for an answer. As Dr. Whitmore was closing his office door for the last time, he thought he saw in the corner of his eye a hooded figure disappear into another classroom. All right, you win, come on, let's go, now realizing the danger she would be in even if he left her at the university. I hope you like camels, Dr. Whitmore said with a smile. Sophie looked up at him as they were quickly walking out of the university. I don't know, I've never seen one in real life. Her gray eyes brightened as she exclaimed, so you do know where Dr. Anderson is? Where? Dr. Whitmore, with a smile, just replied, no time to worry about that, now we've got to catch a train. Plus, we need to ditch the hooded man that's tailing us.
If you like this chapter or any other chapters, please press the like button and subscribe to get updates and hear the next chapters as soon as they go up.